ways to help people during this difficult time, working with food banks to get food to people who are missing SNAP benefits, WIC payments, military members who are not getting paid, but they're overseas, as Chairman Pfluger talked about. While their family's still here, those babies still have needs, and yet the paycheck's not coming in. Those bills are still due. And Democrats think this is some kind of game. Speakers talked about this over and over again, but what has their reaction been? Not figuring out a solution to get out of it, an off-ramp. It's doing stupid TikTok videos, making fun of this situation, thinking that the American people are leverage in their game to get some kind of unachievable goal, $1.5 trillion in new spending, $200 billion in taxpayer benefits for illegals, gutting $50 billion out of a healthcare fund for rural hospitals. And again, they try to claim it's about something else. Maybe it's about healthcare. Well, if it was about healthcare, they wouldn't be gutting $50 billion out of the rural healthcare fund. They wouldn't have fought, by the way, on the Senate floor months ago to remove a provision, the cost-sharing ratios, that would have lowered premiums on families by 11%. It was in our bill. We voted for it, passed out of the House. Democrats are still to this day bragging that they removed that provision from the bill that would have lowered premiums, health insurance premiums on families by 11%. And they want to talk about health care? Give me a break. Look at what they've done. They've wrecked the health care system. They fought to raise premiums on families. Democrats have over and over again, and now they're imposing real pain on American families with this shutdown. We've got some new numbers that have come in, and these are not good numbers, unfortunately. Reuters reported more than 2,700 flights delayed nationwide on Monday, and more than 8,600 flight delays just Sunday. 8,600 flight delays. Think of how many families were impacted. Every flight, well over 100 people on each one of those 8,600 flights that were delayed, all because Chuck Schumer and radical Democrats want to use American people as leverage. A Democrat aide said they won't concede short of, quote, planes falling out of the sky. Who are these people? Didn't they once care about this great nation and making it better? And now they think if a plane falls out of the sky, that's their leverage? For what? Goodness. Chuck Schumer, quote, every day gets better for us. Who is us? Because I can tell you who them are. The American people are sick and tired of Chuck Schumer and his friends thinking it's a better day for him when they are feeling more pain. Senator Coons, quote, the point of this shutdown is not just suffering for suffering's sake, but to make a point, as if suffering of the American people is not enough. We've heard, of course, over and over again, Catherine Clark, shutdowns are terrible. Of course, there will be families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leverage times we have. They keep saying over and over again, they know American people are suffering. They don't care. They want leverage for themselves. They want to show off to their radical socialist base. Bernie, of course, Bernie Sanders, who was on the stage with AOC over with Mandami the other day with their socialist love fest. Bernie, quote, you reopen the government and we lose our leverage. That's what this whole shutdown is about. They're telling you what they mean. Democrats source in the Hill article last week that we talked about, quote, we would have enough votes to reopen the government if people were not terrified of getting the guillotine. This is Democrats being afraid of their own base because their base is so radical that they're afraid of their base. The American Federation of Government Employees, we talked about this yesterday, came out and said, quote, it's time to pass a clean continuing resolution and end this shutdown today. No half measures and no gamesmanship. Rep. Amelia Sykes said, quote, we know that people are going to suffer if we don't open the government. People will go hungry. Well, she knows it. She's causing that hunger, but let's put a point on this. In an ABC article regarding the 42 million Americans that are going to lose SNAP benefits next week, Joel Berg, who's the CEO of the nonprofit Hunger Free America, said this, quote, We are going to see the greatest hunger crisis since the Great Depression. And that's not hyperbole, that's just true. The greatest hunger crisis since the Great Depression, when 42 million people lose their SNAP benefits this weekend. What are these Democrats waiting for? This is not a game. This is not leverage. They're taking food off the table for families, for babies. It's disgusting. It's time to end the madness. They can go on the Senate floor today. Just 5 of them need to get courage. Just 5 of them need to get the courage to do the right thing and open the government today and end this pain and end the suffering that they've caused. Then we can go negotiate our differences. Yield to the whip. Tom Emmer.
As has been mentioned, yesterday the largest federal workers union in the country, represent 820,000 federal workers, released a statement calling on Democrats to stop playing political games, pass our clean CR, and reopen the government. What was Chuck Schumer's response? Silence. Crickets. He declined to comment. Meanwhile, millions of federal workers are reevaluating how to make ends meet. Air traffic controllers missed their first full paycheck today. Some are turning to food banks, as we've discussed, in order to feed their families. Here is what one Democrat and retired federal worker had to say about the current state of play. Quote, "The Democrats are the ones that actually, in the Senate side, shut down the government. So they have to get together and stop holding Americans hostage. We're about to have people without food, and that's ridiculous. It's not worth it." Remember, that's coming from a Democrat and retired federal worker. Since Chuck Schumer and company won't listen to us, maybe they'll start listening to members of their own party. Enough is enough. You're playing politics with people's lives. And as Leader Scalise and the Speaker have reminded us, for what? So that you can appease the radical pro-terrorist wing of your party, so that you can fundraise off of picking a fight with President Trump. It's not worth it. In fact, it's despicable and downright wrong. There's a nonpartisan government funding bill waiting in the Senate to be sent to President Trump's desk immediately. It will come to the floor for a vote for the 13th time this morning. Put an end to the madness. Do the right and reasonable thing that you did back in March, by the way, and vote yes on our clean CR. Instead of complaining about a new White House ballroom, how about you try doing your actual job and reopen the government for the people you were elected to serve? Our conference chair.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. And I first want to extend a thank you to the RSC chair and the members of the RSC who are here today. And thank you for all the work that you've been doing in the district. I know we appreciate it, and more importantly, I know your constituents appreciate it. I know I've been standing at this podium with Speaker Johnson and House leadership for weeks now. And every time we have said the same thing. Republicans voted to keep the government open. Democrats voted to shut it down. Period. It is that simple. This week, more than any other week, the consequences become impossible to ignore. As of yesterday, more than 10,000 flights have been delayed because of staffing shortages. By the end of this week, nearly 2 million paychecks will be missed by Americans. And by Saturday, 42 million Americans will lose their SNAP benefits. Let that sink in. 42 million Americans will lose their SNAP benefits this Saturday because Democrats want to use them as leverage. This is real pain, real fear, and real consequences. And Democrats are using that as political leverage. And leverage for what? Ask them this. Leverage for what? To force through illegal benefits for illegal immigrants to the tune of $1.5 trillion? 42, they'd rather do that and put 42 million Americans at risk of losing their SNAP benefits. That's what they're choosing. That's what they're choosing. Let that sink in for a minute. This isn't leadership. This is cruel and disgusting, and it's cruelty disguised as politics. Even the president of the largest federal workers union, I don't know if you noticed that, but he doesn't exactly always cheer for Republicans. But this gentleman is actually begging the Democrats to do the right thing and end the shutdown. While Democrats posture in front of the cameras, Republicans are actually out in their districts working. Just take a look at the video that we've been playing all morning, right? Don't let the facts get in the way of the good story. Republicans, like the colleagues you see behind me, have been in their district working for the American people who are suffering from this Democratic Schumer-led shutdown. You will see Republicans volunteering at food banks, Republicans supporting rural hospitals, Republicans cleaning up national parks, and Republicans helping people in real ways. Republicans believe in solutions, not stunts. We believe in serving the American people, not using them. So while Democrats try to turn American hardship into political currency, Republicans are working to reopen the government, to restore paychecks, and bring stability back to American families. Because this isn't about leverage, it's about people. And we are here to serve. It's about time the Democrats remember who they serve. Thank you.
All right, questions? Wait for. Well, there is the 22nd Amendment. I spoke with the president about an hour ago. It's late in the evening in Japan. He's working around the clock, serving the American people. He doesn't stop. Talk about someone who works around the clock. And as Chairman Pfluger mentioned a moment ago, and as we've reiterated in here so many times, you're looking at the split screen because under President Trump, the Republican Party has delivered. I mean, you're talking about reducing taxes, reducing regulations, cutting fraud, waste, and abuse, ended the border crisis, ending the crime crisis, resolving conflicts, wars around the globe, and working on these amazing trade agreements. It's been a great run, but I think the president knows, and he and I have talked about the constrictions of the Constitution, as much as so many the American people lament that. The Trump 2028 cap is one of the most popular that's ever been produced, and he has a good time with that, trolling the Democrats whose hair is on fire about the very prospect. But I do believe that we've got 3 extraordinary years ahead of us, and the 2 years of the Trump administration are going to be an incredible thing. And I don't see a way to amend the Constitution because it takes about 10 years to do that, as you all know, to allow all the states to ratify what 2/3 of the House and 3/4 of the states would approve. So I don't see the path for that, but I can tell you that we are not going to take our foot off the gas pedal. We're going to deliver for the American people, and we've got a great run ahead of us. He'll have 4 strong years. Yes, second round. Yeah.
Military, for bank, for farmers. Should the White House now be able to find some funding for the SNAP program if they've done it for all these other ones?
They certainly tried. I mean, one of the reasons that this shutdown has not yet been as painful as it might otherwise have been is because the president is bent over backwards, the administration. Think of it this way. The White House, the executive branch in a shutdown, has a large control panel full of dials. Under the Obama administration, they turned those dials, the pain dials, to 10 immediately. You remember it was so egregious to us, speaking of our veterans. I mean, they put yellow crime tape around the World War II memorial so that people who would serve their country could not go visit the memorial. They wanted it to hurt. The Democrats have shown, and they've said in their own words, this is leverage. It gets better for them every day. They don't mind inflicting pain on the American people if they can somehow get some sort of political points out of it. The Republican Party is the opposite. President Trump has proven that. Every day of this shutdown, he has tried to move funds around to find unobligated funds to cover the bases, to get the troops paid in the middle of October, and to make sure that WIC funding is not resolved. You know how he's getting women, infants, and children funding done? They did some very creative legal research I've quite admired. They found a statute in the 1930s that they could use to say that some of the tariff revenue could be used to cover nutrition because so much of that was transported over the border. So they've done some creative, amazing things to mitigate, to lessen the pain as much as possible. We've been out all over the country, all these Republicans. I mean, Craig Goldman flew in here to do this press conference with us, but he's been in Texas serving his constituents. Stephanie Bice been in Oklahoma. Harriet Hageman's been out west. You got Burgess Owens out Utah. They've been serving their constituents, and August Pfluger, but they came in to help us articulate what's going on. All that effort has mitigated the pain, but we're running out of the resources. We want to fund SNAP, but they did the legal research and they could not find a 1930s era statute to bootstrap that one. The contingency fund was approved by Congress, and when the Democrats voted against the CR, they voted against the ability of us to use that money. And so 42 million people are going to suffer because they're playing political games. There's nothing, the White House has run out of it. They have all the pain dials turned back to just a 0 or a 1 as best they can. But when you're out of resources, they go all the way up. And it's out of their hands. It's out of our hands, and that's why we're so frustrated. You don't see the happy warrior Steve Scalise pound the podium very often. But we're angry about this. We're frustrated. We should be, because it's wrong for the people, and all of you should be angry about it as well. And I know many of you are. Yeah, right.
All right.
Voilà, c'est yon parti donc dans la déclaration président Chambre Bastan, M. Mike Johnson, qui a rencontré ensemble avec la presse comme chaque jour, yo fait li, pour capable présenter au bilan situation, partager avec eux point de vue parti politique là, ou bien sous qui sali même les chita parti républicain dans le cadre conflit ça que deux partis yoye en dedans congrès américain, à savoir démocrates et républicains. Pendant temps ça, la population a souffert, ou t'en parler de 42 millions de monde qui lagué deux bras balancés sans que pas recevoir aide dans l'État, soit dans programme Food Stamp ou bien SNAP ou bien Wiki qui qu'on servi pour mesdames qui enceintes yo même qui fait accoucher ti moun qui fait fête yo qu'on bénéficier de livres et gagner SNAP là qui également contribuer dans la question la manger pour ben que food yo côté journée jeudi la majorité dans population ça qui perd du travail yo obligé gain recours avec organisme ça yo qui a organisé activité pour distribuer faire manger et fait cadeau manger non série de espace que yo érigé pour ça donc population travailleur yo moun qui obligé qu'on y a quitté la caillou pour aller un petit sachet un petit valise qui gagne là-dedans quelques matériel des fois yo ba un petit chicken yo ba de trois pommes yo ba un sachet de riz d'après ça que nous apprendre qui dans valise si là qui a peut distribuer by population pendant que population la fait face à crise politique ça qui affecté Pochi très sérieusement il y a un cyclone que le Mélissa madame ça qui sorti pour faire dégâts il fin fait dégâts dans Caraïbes là en Haïti dans zone grand sud des pays là il prend grand dansant à savoir Jérémy ensemble avec la ville de Caille que le touche sérieusement et bien li a attaqué zone dans pays Jamaïque côté que il y a un pile inquiétude là la Caille Jamaïcain qui capable affecter très sérieusement puisque les à catégorie 5 even Floride là li sous liste et tout selon information. Donc restez branchés quelle que soit information qui tombe n'a capable partager ensemble avec vous et vous connaissez nous fait déjà s'il faut même que nous t'arrêter dans cas là depuis gain courant ou ça me donne pas aucun problème du tout n'a continuer servir depuis information tombée ou doit connaître ça qui passé pour même capable prendre de meilleures positions de meilleures dispositions dans ça qui concerne la vie avec la vie famille ou brancher Pistars FM radio et télévision et bien nous content informer on va retourner pour l'autre bulletin sur réseau par là avant que d'aller devant le tour à partir de 12h pas oublier rendez-vous prière là c'est à midi sur réseau à Pistars FM radio et télévision nous pral devant tourner ensemble on nous fait équipe parce que situation commandez nous li exigez nous pour que n'aller plus vite et plus près chaque jour devant tourner pour nous demander grâce